Good morning. Our lesson today is about multiplying and dividing with large and small numbers. Now let's remember how we used to multiply a whole number or a decimal number by powers of 10. For example, here 65 times 100, you just add the zeros, while 3.4 times 10, you move the decimal to the right side one step, so it's going to be 34. 34.2 times 1000, here you cancel 1 0 because it's going to move with the decimal to the right and 2 zeros will be left. And the other numbers, the same idea. You move it 3 steps, and the last one you move it also 3 steps to the right side. Now let's remember how to multiply numbers. For example, 124 times 26. To do it, you have to use the long multiplication algorithm. To do this, you choose the more digits to put them up. For example, 124 has 3 digits, so it's better to put it at the top, and then you put under it 26, and then you start to multiply with the ones digit, which is 6 times 4 times 2, then times 1. After that, you will go to 2. 2 is considered to be a 20, so you have to put 0 first, and then you multiply 2 by 124. After that, we add. Now, how do we multiply decimals mentally, especially when you have non-zero numbers and zero numbers? First, you take the non-zero numbers to multiply them. 3 times 5 times 3, which is 45, and then you count how many numbers after the decimal do you have. Here you have 4, so you have to count 4 decimal places in the answer and then place the point. Here we have decimal number and we have a number that ends by zeros. So in multiplication, these zeros will help you to take the decimal to the right. Since you have 2 zeros, so the decimal will move to the right 2 steps. So instead of having 900, you will get a 9, and 0.004 will become a 0.4. Then you multiply normal. Now let's remember how do we multiply decimal numbers. First, you multiply ignoring the decimals with the long multiplication, the normal one, and then after finishing, you have to count how many numbers do you have after the decimal. Here you have 3 numbers after the decimal, so you start counting from the right. You count 3 numbers and then you place the decimal. Same thing for this one. Here, for example, you have 2 numbers after the decimal, so you count 2 starting from the right side. So you count 8, 9, and then you put the decimal. Let's do more exercises mentally. For example, if you have this one, 0.5 times 3, you just multiply 5 times 3, one number after the decimal, and then you put it. It's shown like this, 0.5 times 3 to be 1.5. For example, 1.5 times 1.5. Let's take the number without the decimal. It's 15 times 15, which is 225. Then count how many numbers after the decimal. It's 2 numbers, so the answer will be 2.25. Now let's think about the squared numbers. For example, what do we mean by 300 squared? This one means that 300 times 300. 300 is the base multiplying itself 2 times. So 300 times 300, 3 times 3 is 9, and then you will add the zeros at the end. Here 0.3 squared means 0.3 is the base multiplied itself twice. 0.3 times 0.3, 3 times 3 is 9, then you count how many numbers after the decimal, and same thing for 0.03. Now, when we are going to divide decimals. First of all, you have to make sure to get rid of the decimals in the divisor. So if you have like this one, 2.4, you have to get rid of this decimal by multiplying it by 10. If you have, for example, 2.04, which means two numbers after the decimal, you multiply by 100. When you multiply the divisor by 10, you have to multiply also the other one, the dividend, by 10. Now let's remember how we divide numbers by powers of 10. You move the decimal to the left side. If, for example, if you are dividing by 100, you move it to the left 2 digits. If you are dividing by 10, you move it 1 digit. So the first one, 6.4, you move the decimal 2 steps to the left, which is 0.064. 120 divided by 100, you move it also 2 steps. Same thing for the other numbers. Now let's try to divide mentally. 2 divided by 0.4. 2 is the dividend, 0.4 is the divisor. So I have to get rid from the decimal in the divisor. To get rid of it, you have one number after the decimal, so you multiply both of them by 10. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now 12 divided by 0.3, the same thing, one number after the decimal, you multiply by 10. 120 divided by 3 is 40. In this one, we have two numbers in the divisor, so it's not enough to multiply it by 10 because the decimal will move only one step to the right. Don't forget, what do you do to the divisor? You have to do it to the dividend. So you will get 440 divided by 1.1. So I have to multiply it by another 10. For that, we always say when you have two numbers after the decimal, multiply it by 100. Same thing here, you have to divide it to multiply by 100 to get rid of the decimal. So the answer will be 560 divided by 7, which is 80. Now 49.32 divided by 4. 49.32 is the dividend and the other one is the divisor. And you start dividing using the short division, because it's hard to do it mentally. So we start 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times 4 is 0. 9 divided by 4 is 2. So 1 is left because 9 minus 8 is 1. Then you have 13. So 3 times 4 is 12. 1 is left. And at the end, 3 times 4 gives you 12. So we have finished from this one. The other one, the same thing. But here, when you have 22, some students find it difficult to find the number. So instead of this, just place the decimal up and then put the multiples of 22 as if you are adding 22 every time. 22, 44, 66, and so on. Now, 6 divided by 22, you can't, so you put 0. 6 is left. Then the best answer to take it with 62 is 44. It's in the second place, so it's number 2. 62 minus 44 is 18. And then you have 185. The best number to 185 is 176. If you count it, you will find it, it's number 8. So it means 8 times 22 gives you 176. And then you will subtract. When you subtract, you will get 9. So 90, the best answer to 90 is 88, which is number 4. So 4 times 22 is 88. This one is not going to end, so we round it to one decimal place to give you 2.8. Now here you are going to divide, but in this slide we are going to show you how to do it, how to divide when the divisor has a decimal number. First of all, as we said, you have to get rid of the decimal. You have one number after the decimal, so you multiply by 10 for both numbers, you will get this one, and then you'll start your division. You'll place the decimal point above, and then you'll start 5. You can't divide it by 6, so you'll put 0. 5 is left, so 53 divided by 6 is 8, and then you continue as we said before. Now this one, you have two numbers after the decimal, so to solve it you have to multiply by 100 to get rid of the decimal for both sides to get this new one, and you will start. Here some students are going to face problems while dividing by 5, so instead, to avoid this, you can do the multiples of 15. After doing this, you can continue your division. And after that, after you find the quotient, you have to round to one decimal place, which means 6. You look after 6, it's 7. So it's greater than 5, so you round up 1. So you will add on 6, 1. So it's going to be 57.7. Now, as a summary, we showed you in this video how to multiply and divide with large and small numbers, and how to multiply and divide with decimals. You can do this plenary, and you can write your own answers to evaluate yourself. This slide is also a plenary to the first exercise is to show your skill, to make sure that you understood how to divide. So please try it by yourself and then compare your answer with this one to check that you can divide properly. The last one is a problem solving. Andy gets paid 238 per week. She works 28 hours a week. How much does she get paid per hour? Some of you are going to multiply, and here, since you are going to get how much you get paid per hour, it means you have to divide. So you have to work how to divide 238 divided by 28 to check how much does she get paid per hour. So please try to do it and compare it with this answer. Here is your assignment for today. Thank you for listening. To practice more exercises, at the end of this video, you have 4 slides about multiplication and division, and then you have the answer key also. Here is the first extra sheet. Second extra sheet, try to do the problem solving also. Third one, about mental division also. And here is the last one about the long division and problem solving.